Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, April 13, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what did that be like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at this post that was made here by the Meteorological Service of Jamaica at around 12:57 p.m. today, Sunday, April 13. They've stated on their Twitter page that a flash flood watch is now in effect for low-lying and flood-prone areas of Portland, St. Mary, St. Catherine, Clarendon, and Manchester until 7 p.m. on Monday, April 14. This is as a trough over the central and western Caribbean continues to produce unstable weather over Jamaica. And we see the clouds associated with the trough extending from northern portions of North Atlantic all the way down to Hispaniola, Jamaica, and the southwestern Caribbean. We'll see if it actually plays out. Many persons have been complaining about the heat today, even though we got rainfall in some spots. Let's see. We know that a flash flood watch means basically that flooding is possible. So let us see if it actually takes place. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS Supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. As we head into Monday morning, we still see the abundance of moisture across northeastern Jamaica, the southwestern Caribbean, Hispaniola, all the way up into the northern portion of North Atlantic. We see that rainfall still affecting Jamaica by Monday afternoon. Let's see what's in store for Tuesday morning. We're still having that rainfall extended from Hispaniola across Jamaica into the western Caribbean. Tuesday afternoon, something similar. What does Wednesday show us? Definitely seeing rainfall on Wednesday morning according to the latest Euro for Jamaica, as well as Wednesday afternoon. But that's the thing. On Monday and Tuesday, the GFS is showing that rainfall across Jamaica, as well as the western Caribbean and Hispaniola, for sure in the morning and the afternoon hours. But Wednesday morning, it has not been consistent in terms of what the Euro was showing. We don't see that for Jamaica. We see more whites than anything else. Most of the rainfall is affecting eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and Hispaniola. Even Wednesday afternoon, it's not really showing much. Well, I guess we have some changes now, because earlier the maps weren't showing rainfall for central and western parishes or eastern parishes Wednesday afternoon. So I'm guessing the weather is continuously changing. And there we go. We have some changes now. Looks like the GFS is caving to what the Euro has been showing. The Euro has still been showing rainfall for Wednesday, but the GFS was backing off, and we were wondering which one of the models would win. But clearly, the Euro model is starting to win because the GFS is caving to what it's showing. That's what Thursday morning has in store for us. We still have some rainfall across northern and eastern parishes on the Euro. Thursday afternoon has rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Let's see if Thursday morning on the GFS is showing something similar. Alright, we see some rainfall across the northeast. Thursday afternoon, not seeing much of anything. Let's see what Friday morning has in store for us according to the latest Euro. On Friday morning, just a speck of green across the northeast. Then, Friday afternoon, just some isolated showers across the east. Let us see what the latest GFS is showing. Friday morning, more of the rainfall across the northern portion of the island. Friday afternoon, eastern parish right there with some isolated showers. Let's see what Saturday morning has in store for us. Rainfall still affecting northeastern parishes on the Euro. Then section of central and eastern parishes on Saturday afternoon, and we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for 7 a.m. on Sunday, April 20. And we can see the rainfall across northern parishes. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, rainfall across the northeast. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across northeastern parishes as well as southwestern parishes. Then we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours, and we see the similarities that rainfall that should be affecting a portion of northern and eastern parishes, both on the year and the GFS, for the same time. That's Sunday, April 20, 2025. We see that we have some similarities or some differences on both the year and the GFS models. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the year and the GFS, we can see that there's going to be a lot of rainfall within the next 7 days. You see the yellows, the oranges, the reds, the dark reds, the purples into the pinks. They represent anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall. And we can clearly see that the brunt of the rainfall is going to be wherever we have the dark reds, into the purples, into the pinks. Represents anywhere from 2 to 5 inches of rainfall, and that could be affecting portions of Hispaniola, the Turks and Caicos, southern Bahamas, sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia right here. And we clearly see that it's not only the GFS here that's showing this, but even the Euro model is showing something similar. So there could be some amount of isolated flash flooding taking place in those spots. You can also see that heavy rainfall as well across portions of northern South America, much of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana getting on the mix, while we see more so on the isolated shore side in store for those areas shaded in the green, the yellows, oranges, slight red, and that's going to be expected across sections of Trinidad and Tobago, the ABC Islands, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, section of the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, the Cayman Islands, Belize, Guatemala, Honduras right there, and section of northern Cuba as well as the Bahamas. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that. But we're going to be switching gears and focusing our attention on Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation forecast. And we can see that both maps from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that it's going to be raining across section of Jamaica over the next 7 days. We know that most of the rainfall that's expected across the northern and eastern sides are going to be during the morning hours, and the Euro is adamant that the rainfall should get up to 111 millimeters of rainfall. So we see that it's definitely decreasing. It was way more, just to show that we've been getting that rainfall over the past couple of days, even today. So it's definitely decreasing. So up to 111 on the Euro for section of Portland. The GFS only going up to at least 92 millimeters of rainfall, especially out to sea right here. And we know that most of the rainfall that's going to be affecting portion of southern or central and western parishes will be during the afternoon. And we see those colors, the greens into the yellows into the oranges into the pinks, represent anywhere from 15 all the way up to maybe 80 millimeters of rainfall. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs on our other social media platforms, so stay tuned. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have the frontal system right here extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to portion of Hispaniola, the southwestern Caribbean, where it has induced that trough into our neck of the woods. You can see that we have a ridge of high pressure right here across the waters of northern portion of North Atlantic. That's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost the sunlight, we can make out the clouds associated with that frontal system and the trough that has induced across portion of the Caribbean, extending all the way down to the southwestern Caribbean. Lots of clouds bring overcast skies, if not some isolated showers and thunderstorms. And we can make out the low level flow of the clouds being steered from east-west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, April 13, 2025. It was stated that rainfall would have been in the forecast of parts of northern Jamaica on Sunday morning, also affecting sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes during Sunday afternoon. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about these parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, central parishes. You know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? At around 7:51 am, the visible satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the image that was posted this morning at around 7:51 am, and it highlighted some clouds, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers. This section of northern Jamaica, we're talking about sections of St. Anne, sections of St. Mary, sections of Portland, definitely getting on the overcast skies, if not some isolated shower activity. Then by around 2:01 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted once again, and it highlighted what was predicted for the afternoon. Clouds bring overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to sections of some eastern parishes, central parishes, and sections of some western parishes for sure. Definitely saw that across section of St. Elizabeth, section of Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James got in on some of the overcast activity, if not some isolated showers. And if you take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, you can see that Portland was definitely getting it, St. Mary too, St. Anne, section of St. Catherine, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth definitely got a burst of convection before all was said and done with the day, and then we lost the sunlight. And even while we were losing the sunlight, we saw that we were still getting a somewhat of clouds across section of the island, bringing some lingering showers to sections of St. Elizabeth. And we have confirmation right here on the infrared close-up satellite imagery showing the convection. We see the blues, we see the greens, they represent the high cloud tops, showing those upper level clouds being sheared off towards the east, northeast, as we can see here. Definitely had some convection to the east of us. Definitely had some convection right here across section of southern St. Elizabeth and section of Manchester too. And we see the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, even lightning flashes, to indicate that we got some cumulonimbus clouds, some thunderstorm clouds. Definitely brought some thunder showers across those areas before we lost the sunlight. And we have the live camera here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing what was taking place across the Bagwalk Gorge at around 3:21 p.m. today. It was definitely windy, and we can see that it was definitely dry as well, and the water definitely murky. It's not that green color that we're used to. Murky to show that we've been getting a lot of rainfall recently, but not enough rainfall to bring the water up to the bridge height at all, and we're indeed grateful for that. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. Let's go over to YouTube, tap that YouTube app, or go to youtube.com and search for See Jamaica. We also have a live stream of Halfway Tree, Panoramic City View, Crossroad in St. Andrew, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island, so subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite a picture of where we might have had that rainfall today across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, even although it's not 100% accurate in terms of the rainfall and the where it took place. It is somewhat accurate in a sense. We know northern Jamaica got the rainfall in the morning, then section of eastern, central, and western parishes during the afternoon, so it all checks out. And we had a video here that was posted to Twitter by Remzilla __ stating torrential rains always bring flooding and a show down on Mokwai land. And we saw some people right here, we saw a person in a canoe, we saw a truck driving through water. Lots of flooding took place here. I'm guessing this was from yesterday's downpour, given that this video was posted at 10 a.m. Definitely interesting, just to show the magnitude of the rainfall that has been taking place recently. Taking a look at some of the comments that came in today on our YouTube platform, we see Bob Brown 3953 stating heavy rain in St. Mary, Mikhail Masters 8479 stating rain North St. Catherine, posting that 9 hours ago. Thanks for the comment. Even on our Instagram page we had the comments coming in from Rovine 12 stating raining heavily in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, posted 1 hour ago. We have Asia stating it's raining where I'm at. I wonder where that is. We have one Jamal underscore Dunn stating more rain are come. And we have Fest Genius on our Twitter page stating thunder shower that was posted 3 hours ago. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather News website. Let's see what's taking place right now. And the very latest still image is showing 0015 UTC, which is actually 7:15 p.m. So this just came out. What? Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 minutes ago. Considering that it is 7:37 p.m. right now. And what do we see? Still see the leftover upper level convection being shared out towards the east northeast at that upper level wind shear. We still see some milky white shades across sections of the island that represent cloud cover. We see a lot of that toward east as well. Water surrounding us. But do we actually have rainfall within all of that? Unfortunately, the Cuban Doppler radar site still glitched out since April 12, showing that massive rainfall that was taking place across sections of central Jamaica, as well as the waters to the east of us. And we have to be depending on other Doppler radar, but these radars aren't showing much. The Guantanamo Cuban Naval Radar Imagery right here showing most of the rainfall to the east of Jamaica, some rainfall across the western peninsula of Haiti. The Cayman radar really not showing much. If we reload the image right here, what do we see? I think we can make out some of the isolated shore activity that's currently lashing portions of St. Elizabeth. Let us look closely. There it is right there. The slight blues right there across second of southern St. Elizabeth. Definitely affecting those areas with some amount of light, maybe moderate, maybe even some heavy rainfall. Don't see much of anything across southern Cuba or the Cayman Islands, just a speck of isolated shore right here to the southwest of Grand Cayman. Taking a look at what's taking place right now, according to the halfway tree live camera, you can see people walking about, going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place as we speak. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about, well, it looks to be the same, 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. GFS is a bit more robust with the temperatures in Kingston going all the way down to 22 degrees Celsius. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday. You can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grays. For the most part, that represents average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of April across Jamaica is around 88 degrees Fahrenheit, and when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 31.1 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be the temperature forecast for Jamaica on Monday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online Twitter page that we have to highlight. I know that we have to highlight these because that when we have power outages somewhere across Jamaica, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that the power outage is coming their way on Monday, April 14, 2025. And we're referring to Byron's Land as well as Spalding in the parish of Manchester from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. 3 Miles Lane in the parish of St. Mary from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And finally, we have Rainy Drive in St. James from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if the heat is going to be beating you tomorrow, we have some tips right here to beat it. It states here, when outside, seek shade. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep, and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. Keep hydrated, drink lots of water throughout the day even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites in those areas. You can see an abundance of dry air right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic, of the east coast of the US, across the Gulf, lots of dry air in the oranges and reds. But what we're also seeing is the blues and the yellows. They represent moist air as well as the low end of the scale in terms of dry air. Across the portion of the Caribbean, wherever we have the trough, a lot of moist air. Wherever we have the intertropical convergence zone across the Atlantic and the East Pacific, a lot of moist air as well. That's what we want to see. We want the moist air so that we can keep the water in our pipes because it's bringing more in the way of rainfall. But regarding the Saharan dust forecast for 18 UTC on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Monday, we can see the browns represent the Saharan dust extending across the waters of the main development region, some of it trailing across into the Windward Islands, the Southern Caribbean, into portion of Northern South America. But we're indeed grateful that it is only getting up to anywhere from 1 to maybe at least a 16 on the intensity scale in terms of the dust concentration. We're glad that the brunt of the Saharan dust is right here across portions of Africa, Europe, Asia. Let it stay all the way over there and let the intensity over there remain. We don't want the crazy intensity like what we see here with those dark shades of browns over here in the Caribbean or we have Jamaica at all, because know that that can bring very hazy skies, not to mention trigger somewhat of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we've been enjoying the low wave heights for the past couple of days, but looks like it's going to be changing, especially on the north coast tomorrow. Look at this. On the north coast, waves seem to be getting up to 2.2 meters. See the purples right there. South coast should be a bit less, up to 1.7 meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. The winds should be coming in from the east, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots across the eastern Caribbean. The central Caribbean, however, definitely stronger. We have these bright greens and the yellows. Look at that. Even from the windward passage, the winds are coming down into Jamaica, more of a northeasterly flow expected. And that should be averaging all the way up to what, 20 knots, maybe 25 knots in some spots. Definitely some strong northeasterly, if not east northeasterly winds. And this kind of flow could definitely bring some relief rainfall to sections of some northern parishes. We can also see that on the south coast, we have the air piling up. We see the blues that represent the least amount of winds. That's where we could get all of the air piling up, bringing us some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, sections of some southern parishes during the afternoon. And with the upper level winds coming in still from the southwest, if we actually get convection tomorrow, we might just get a repeat of what took place today when we had the convection right here across southern parishes being blown off towards the northeast or the east northeast direction. And we've been talking about relief rainfall, but what is relief rainfall? It states here, mild moist air comes in from the sea, in this case from the northeast, and is forced to rise as it arrives at some hills, and we're talking about the hills of St. Mary and Portland. So let's say this is the northeastern side of the island where we have St. Mary and Portland. This is the Blue Mountain Peak, and this is the southern portion of the island where we would have Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. Now when we have the northeasterly winds, all of this air rises, and then we have clouds, and all of it condenses to produce rain, and then as the rain crosses over the hills, it starts to descend and the condensation or the rainfall stops, and that we call the rain shadow side of the hill. So this is why even today most of that rainfall was definitely lashing portions of Portland and St. Mary, section of St. Anne as well, even from morning into the afternoon. So we might just get a repeat of that with all of that relief rainfall, given the flow of the winds coming in from the northeast or from the east northeast for sure. And if we actually take a look at the rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time, and don't think that it's going to be starting at that time. It could be starting earlier than that. We can clearly see that sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland could get in on some morning rainfall. We see that on both the Euro and the GFS maps. Some of this rainfall could spill into section of northern St. Catherine, northern St. Andrew, northern St. Thomas. We'll see it plays out then by afternoon. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see? We still have the blues represent rainfall across northern parishes. We're talking about St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. But look at this. Some southern areas are getting in on the action too. We're talking about section of Kingston, St. Andrew, section of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, maybe even as far west as Hanover. And we see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls. So we should get a repeat of what took place today. Rainfall across northern parishes in the morning, or more so northeastern parishes in the morning, also affecting sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes during the afternoon, or more so southern parishes. But we would say southern parishes if the northeast wasn't still getting rainfall, so it's gonna be eastern, central, and western parishes during the afternoon as well. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that it's going to be raining somewhere within the next 24 hours across Jamaica. The Euro going all the way up to 0.89 of an inch of rainfall, especially across the east. We see central and western Jamaica also shaded in the yellows and the oranges. The GFS a bit more reserved with the rainfall. Totals only going up to at least 0.39 of an inch of rainfall in the south, up to 0.41 of an inch of rainfall in the northeast. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, we'll definitely take it, because we're in the month of April. And in April, in Kingston, we usually receive close to 40 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, we usually receive close to 4 inches of rainfall for the month. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of April in terms of rainfall, or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that is it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the line of clouds associated with the frontal system and the trough that has induced across portion of the Caribbean, extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to Hispaniola, Jamaica, section of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama as we speak. Lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms taking place. And if we take a look at the actual Doppler radar imagery of the northeastern Caribbean, we're going to be seeing some confirmation of what's taking place across sections of the Puerto Rico area. As of right now, some isolated showers across portions of central and western Puerto Rico, and some heavy rainfall at that between the waters of Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, especially to the north of there. And if we load these images from earlier today about 2 p.m., you can see that central and western Puerto Rico definitely getting some rainfall, so too sections of the Dominican Republic. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, I'm not seeing much of anything across Barbados right now. Not even Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent getting not much of anything. Where we see the actual rainfall is across sections of the southern Grenadine Islands as well as Grenada. And we can see that there's not much of anything affecting Trinidad and Tobago either. If we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall right here across sections of the Dominican Republic. We can also see some amount of rainfall right here across sections of Guyana, sections of Colombia right there. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, you can clearly see that the brunt of the rainfall should be across Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, sections of Jamaica, sections of eastern Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, sections of Colombia, western and southern Venezuela, Guyana, and Suriname. And we can clearly see that the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with that forecast. Not seeing much of anything for, let's say, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Barbados. But we can make out some isolated shores for sections of the Leeward Islands all the way down to Guadeloupe. Maybe some isolated shores in store for sections of maybe Tobago, not necessarily Trinidad, only the Euro showing Trinidad shaded, not so much across the GFS. We'll see it actually plays out. We also see some isolated shores into portion of Belize though. And whatever happens, we'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.